Disorder community right now, there is, sorry, my kitty, there is, this Netflix documentary that will be coming out, and it is called To the Bone. And it's supposed to be a documentary to help kind of dispel the misconceptions, be a conversation starter. This was from the director, to kind of dispel the misconceptions and the secrecy surrounding eating disorders so that we can open up awareness. And a lot of people just started posting, take it down, don't, there's all kinds of petitions out there to sign that it's so triggering and it's going to be harmful to the eating disorder community, so don't come out with it. Well, I saw a lot of this, and one thing that I don't like is people who just, slam something and say it's so triggering. Well, really, how is it triggering? Like let's say how, because here's this honest documentary coming out, and somebody's displayed this honesty with us. So let's be honest here. Let's not say it's just triggering. Let's give some feedback on how, and that's what I want to do with this video. Because, this video is supported by Project Heal. So I was super against jumping on the train to go against this documentary, because how could something that was supported by Project Heal be harmful to the eating disorder community? And obviously the documentary hasn't even came out yet, and I'm not sure if I'll watch it, but I did want to share my own reaction, because I was triggered by the trailer. But I don't want to just come out and say I'm triggered and I don't like it. Take it down. I want to go through it and just explain some of the problems. And for one thing, I don't really see how, it's an emaciated 20-year-old female who goes to treatment for anorexia, who gets this amazing non-conventional treatment. So, for one thing, no one, the general public, already thinks that anorexia is your 20-year-old white female who's emaciated. That's not what they need education about. So that's my problem. So this just reinforces, I think, the idea that people who need help are the people who are, white and emaciated and pass out. So the other thing is, she receives this amazing treatment, and I think it's a dream. I think the treatment she receives is the treatment we would have all wished we could have. Eating disorder specialists are rare. Eating disorder treatment is hard to get, and only few receive it. That's the reality. So the misconception is that you can get eating disorder treatment, and great treatment at that. So I just think the video that you're trying to go about doing it is just a funny show. It's not teaching anybody anything. It's just a funny show. We are reinforcing the misconceptions. That you're emaciated and skinny, and that you can get to treatment, and that you can get amazing treatment, and that you can get better. because those are all the misconceptions, if you're looking at the majority. So that is kind of like a summary, but I also wanted to go through the trailer and just give you some thoughts too. So in the very beginning, so somebody in recovery, who is me, somebody in, so I'm trying to get it to go backwards. So in the very beginning, she's going through and she's counting the calories, all the food on her plate. And her sister, who doesn't have, and she's very proud of that, she's like, yes. And her sister, who doesn't have an eating disorder, saying, man, you have calorie Asperger's. And so the general, and you can go in and watch reactions of people who don't have an eating disorder history, and they are like filming live reactions to themselves watching this, and they think that's funny too, because it's funny, right? That's funny, calorie Asperger's. But I'm viewing this in recovery, and I'm like, oh man, calorie counting was my superpower. It was my superpower, and I don't have it anymore because I'm in recovery, and I don't have it anymore, and I miss it. That is my sick, or what would you call that? Unhealthy brain. I don't have it anymore. She has the superpower. I don't have it anymore. Okay? Now, there's also the healthy part of my brain that says, wow, I'm so glad my head isn't full of the numbers anymore, and I don't calorie count anymore. But as I'm viewing this right now, watching her, I'm like, oh man, my superpower is gone. And I'm kind of like, oh, you're awesome. I'm not. Go you. So that's just at the surface, as you're reading this. So you see her, and she's, very forward with her mother. Oh, and before we get to that, okay, she's in an exam room in a gown. Of course, it's showing her emaciation, but very noticed and confronted by her doctor. Okay, so tell me, how many times has that happened to you when you went to your doctor's office? For one, were you examined in a gown? How many times has that happened these days? That you're examined in a gown? And if your doctor notices something, like your jetting collarbones, if you even have them, do you think that they actually point something out? Or, your lymph nodes or your parotid glands that might be a little swollen, your scratchy throat. Have you ever, do you know, I actually went to an eating disorder dentist who said nothing. Look at my teeth. They're great. But I went to somebody who knew, a dentist who knew about my eating disorder history, and I watched her skip over it. And not even question it. So it's hard, but just like I said, that is unrealistic right there. And to portray that to the public, that when we went to the doctor, that it would be pointed out to us that, that we go to the doctor and that our symptoms wouldn't be missed is just really lame. How does that dispel misconceptions? How about viewing, how about taping somebody who has to go to their doctor and actually start the conversation of, hey, I'm starving myself. That would dispel some misconceptions. Start the conversation. So,
good speech.
So, just going through this, watching her exercise and restrict and be so resistant with her mother, and she passes out. And so, just putting this all together in my head, I'm remembering I was never emaciated. I never passed out. I never went to treatment. So, no wonder, immediately going through my head, no wonder nobody knew I was sick. No wonder. So, it shows in here, she has an amazing, caring therapist. And that, like I said, is just, in my community, there aren't eating disorder therapists. And that is so frustrating to me. So, not only having access to an eating disorder specialist, but having access to this amazing one is just not something that, we're feels like we're showing the community that we have great eating disorder therapists when we don't. There was something else that I wanted to... Oh, so as I'm watching this, I already knew that I wanted to be not against this documentary because, like I said before, I didn't want to be against this documentary. So Project Heal was behind it. I didn't want to be triggered by it. Project Heal was behind it, and I wanted to be behind it. I didn't want to be like the crowd who was triggered by it. I wanted to be better than that. I am in recovery, and Project Heal is behind this documentary, and I wanted to handle it. So when I went through this and was very disturbed by it, I then went into this whole shame spiral. What's wrong with me? Why am I disturbed by this? Am I really not in recovery? Again, it was just a whole shame spiral of what's wrong with me? Why am I not behind this? Am I really not in recovery? I started questioning my own recovery. So that's a big, and I have a slip because I'm in that shame spiral. And on top of that, I'm thinking about, wow, I don't have my super power of calorie counting anymore. On top of that, I wasn't even that sick. I wasn't emaciated. Didn't pass out. Didn't go to the hospital. So you just put all those things together and you have a slip. So, I'm not saying don't put it out but I'm just saying don't, it's going to be a trigger. And I just